Hello and welcome back to our channel. Yes, we are here with only a few weeks until the season starts with a new series for you all called If I Was Slav and Bilic. During the next few weeks, you're going to see a few of these episodes from some of the broader members of the West Ham community that you may know from social media, and of course, us, the guys here at Hammers Chat, who you see week in, week out on our channel. Now, there are two other videos that have already been done in this series, and if you stick around until the end, I'll tell you how you can watch both of them. But without further ado, let's jump into the first set of questions. If Mark Noble's been missing in the past few years, we all know that Winston Reid steps in as the number 2. However, after the signing of Joe Hart yesterday, there's only one man that I can say for this season. Be a nice change up from Reedy, to be honest with you, to see Hart in goal. I think the best moment of Euro 2016 was watching Joe Hart traumatise a ball boy for not giving him a ball back in the knockout game against Iceland, and it just stuck with me. I think he's always recognised as a leader of men amongst his peers, and to be honest with you, I think he could be fantastic leading from the back, something we struggled with in the last year or so, and I think he's going to be a fantastic addition. So if Mark Noble's injured next year, Joe Hart, it's your armband to take. If I was Slav and Bilic, there is no doubt that I'd be wearing a suit and tie, nice and spruced up. There's one thing I cannot stand, and that is seeing Tony Pulis for West Brom games and wherever he's been, standing on that touchline in a baseball cap and a tracksuit, and then getting changed into a suit when he goes to do his interviews after the game. My dad always says to me that's the way it's done in football, and I guess if you were doing Sunday League football and pro amateur football, that's probably what you would do. But there's just something so suave and fashionable about seeing Bilic, Silva, Mourinho, and even Guardiola when they've got nice long jackets and a nice waistcoat on as well. It's just, like I said, something fashionable about being a manager. However, I think Bilic could do with a bit of a touch-up. He always looks like he's just come in from a night out when he's got his tie just undone and that top button's undone. He always looks a little bit scruffy, but for me, no shadow of a doubt, it's always going to be a tie, a nice suit, maybe even a little waistcoat to match. If David Sullivan took control of transfers, I would stay. As long as Sullivan and Tony Henry were on the same wavelength and the scouting team was working closely with Sullivan, I would trust him and say, you know what, go about and do the business. Because we've seen in the past that, all right, you know, he may be the snake, but it was a great deal that he did for Payet. Similarly, what he's done with Hart this week, and potentially with Arnautovic and Hernandez too. He clearly knows what he's doing. I don't know what happened last summer. I think there was just a lack of communication between the board and the manager, and I think those two things combined led to targets that really strengthen our overall 11 and just bulked our squad, and it made for a difficult season. So as long as David Sullivan was communicating with Tony Henry, I'd stay 100%. I think it would be a bit impetuous to leave over something as simple as transfers, but that's my opinion. If I had the choice between starting with Fletcher or Martinez, I would choose Martinez 100% of the time. I know a lot of our fans like what Fletcher had to offer last season, but for me, didn't quite cut it, and I didn't actually like what I saw. He's too weak, didn't look mobile enough as a striker, and I think Martinez might have that chance. He's got such a good record at the amateur levels at Valencia in their academy. He scored something ridiculous, like 200 goals in 4 years. And when you compare to being the next Fernando Torres, I think it was quite a coup for us last summer to buy him. He's probably going to have to go out on loan this year, and for what it was worth, what he did at Oxford last year, although he didn't score a lot, he showed signs of brilliance in the goals that he did score, and he has a real eye for goals, something that a lot of strikers don't have. I think the boy's got a really bright future. It just depends whether he's going to get that playing time under Slav, but Martinez starts 100% of the time. If I was Slav and Bilic, the sweet I'd have in my pocket while pacing up and down the touchline would be a jelly baby. Little backstory to this, when I'm playing cricket, yes, I play cricket in the off season. I have to find something to fill my time between the football year in the summer from start to finish. So when I was playing cricket when I was younger and now, I would always stick jelly babies in my pocket. Always gives me a little bit of perk up, a little bit of energy when I need it, and it'd probably be the same when if I was pacing up and down those touch lines. If I'm on a plane, however, it's a bit different. It's a humbug or something, you know, a Murray Mint or something like that. But seeing as being Slav and Bilic is quite an energetic job down the touchline, my sweet of choice would be a packet of jelly babies. If a £40 million bid came with Manuel Lanzini, I would respectfully decline. There is no way that you can sell our best player, not in a million years. In a few years, he could be worth double that at the rate he's going. I think he's got all the attributes to become a top player, not only in English football, but in the world. I think the fact that he's been moved up to the Argentina squad when he learned from the likes of Di Maria, Messi, Dybala, and the likes of that, I think it's just going to help us no end. We're not a selling club anymore. We can't be getting rid of our best players, and to be honest with you, he needs to be the core of that team now after Payet's left. At only 22, 23, he's the perfect perfect player to build around going forward, and he's just that West Ham mould of player, that attacking player, you know, that the fans love. Obviously, like Payet last season, the likes of Di Canio, you know, he's a real fan favourite, and it'd be just a shame to see him go after only 2 seasons here when he could accomplish something so much more at West Ham. So for me, if a £40 million bid comes in, see you later. If I was Slaven Bilic, the formation I'd be using is the 4-2-3-1. It's probably one of the more common formations that you see in football nowadays, and when it's executed perfectly, it's absolutely brilliant. If you've got 2 holding midfielders that can eat up ground and do like to go forward, people like Mark Noble and Obiang just to sit in front of the back four like an absolute rock that they are and just mop up anything that the back guys don't deal with. It also gives a license for the fullbacks to go forward, and I think having fullbacks like Byram, Masuaku, Cresswell, even Zabaleta, who like to get in behind the defence, I think it's brilliant that they can go up and down the flanks, so to speak. The number 10 as well has to be quite mobile. He can drift out to either wide position. I think Manuel Lanzini can do that perfectly. He's usually good with both feet, and to be honest with you, our wingers are pretty good. If you've got someone like Antonio cutting in, and hopefully next season Arnautovic and Hernandez, I think something like a 4-2-3-1 could really benefit us going forward. Will we see that? Probably not. We'll probably see a 5-back formation or something completely ridiculous that Slaven chooses, but it's me, and if I was him, 4-2-3-1 is the one I'm using. For me, usually if it's home or away, when I say home I mean at the Boleyn, I'm usually a nervous wreck, and it always feels right standing up. I hate sitting down at football games, and that's why the London Stadium's taken a bit getting used to. So predominantly doing away games the last few years, and you know, especially at the Boleyn in the standing sections, obviously over in the Chicken Run and such like, it feels right when you're standing up at football. So for me, yeah, I'd probably be a nervous wreck, but I hate it when I see, you know, Mourinho and Arsene Wenger, you know, sat back in their chair like that. I think obviously you can get a viewpoint on the game. I know certain managers like Steve McLaren like to sometimes sit up. I know Nigel Pearson always likes to sit up on top of the match to get a better aerial view of it, to see it from a tactical perspective. But for me, I love what Bilic does. Doesn't sit still, never sit still, always up on his feet. And I just think when the players can see that energy and they can see that you care, I think sometimes that relates to the players quite well. So if I was Bilic, I'd keep doing what you're doing, mate, because it's exactly what I would be doing as well. So there you have it. Those are the answers to the questions I was given if I was Slav. Let me know down below what you think on some of the questions that I gave, and whether you agree or disagree, even telling us your opinion on what you would do if those questions were put to you. Now, I did say at the start of the video there are another 2 videos that you could watch for this series. The first of those is over on the second channel, the forum channel. A link to that will be down below in the description, where you can see Luke Morden in the first episode of this series. You've seen him on West Ham Fan TV, you've seen him on our channel, he's even got his own channel, and he's one of the more well-known, if you want, West Ham social media guys. So go check his video out, it's a fantastic watch. Second one of those is from Beardy Charlie, Wolfman, Charlie Walsh. You've seen him on here a lot. He's one of the more controversial figures on Ham's chat, so to speak, and certain players that he'd get rid of. Anyway, he did his video the other day, and he talks about some very controversial things in regards to who would get the number 6 shirt if Bobby Moore's number came out of retirement, and it certainly divided more opinion than we thought. So go check that out if you will. In the coming weeks, we're going to be having some videos from some of the bigger West Ham YouTube platforms, social media platforms, who you will probably have all heard of as well. So be sure to subscribe to make sure you won't miss anything from those guys. We are trying to keep you entertained just a couple of weeks before the season starts, so hopefully these will all be fun for you to watch. Thank you all for watching. See you all again very soon.